Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm applying to buy the cheapest running and driving Lamborghini probably in the world. For anyone who's unaware, Ed Bolian of VinWiki has partnered with SWAE, who is an outfitting company, and together they are selling off the cheapest running and driving Lamborghini Gallardo in the world. But they're going to sell it to the person who demonstrates the best use case for it, or the most creative use case for it. So pretty much this video is like my application to then purchase a car that I probably shouldn't be buying to begin with. That said, this is a car that is a bucket lister for me, and that is really why I'm making this video and why I'm applying to buy it. Now, I obviously don't have a huge YouTube following. I got a little bit under 100 subscribers at the time of filming, but if you check out my other YouTube videos, you'll see I bought my attainable dream car, which is a Dodge Viper. But I use the words attainable here because that was always kind of the one that I knew wasn't going to be too astronomically expensive and within my price range. Now, I bought a very mechanically sound example that was kind of ugly, but I made a very bad mistake, and that was I did a bunch of paint correction and other things to make it an almost perfect example, to the point that I'm afraid to push it really hard to do like the things I bought it to do, which is kind of thrash on it and not care about it. So as part of that, I made a video not too long ago, I'll link in the description below, where I said that my 2004 Forester as a total ownership experience is actually more fun than my 2004 Dodge Viper, because you don't have to care about it, you're not worried about the interior and the exterior, and there's kind of a beauty to having a not perfect car where the stress of ownership is just so much lower because you're just not worried about door dings, you're not worried about dents and scratches, you're not worried about accumulating miles and doing the things that you love to do as a car guy. That is why I'm specifically interested in this Gallardo. But as for why I'm interested in Gallardos in general, I did an event back in college that was one of those kind of pay to drive events where you show up, they take you out for a lap with a pro driver in a Gallardo, and that was one of the most absolutely unforgettable experiences of my life. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done in a car or experienced in a car. And then after that, you get to run the autocross course in the driver's seat, which was also just a completely cool experience. That was actually the first time I ever had been in anything like that, let alone drove something like that. And I actually shared that experience with my dad. I got him the event as a Father's Day gift, and then we went together and we both did it. So that was a lot of fun, and in a lot of ways, why I want this Gallardo is so that I can kind of let my dad drive that again and like re-experience it. I think that would be something that he'd really appreciate and that I would love as well. I'd like to let some of my other family members and friends and stuff drive it as well, because this is a true miles unknown car. You're not really going to devalue it any by racking up miles and stuff, so that they can have a memory like this of their own. And these are things that by buying the Viper, by making it a clean example, I kind of have to worry about again. Furthermore, for me, it's really a bucket lister, right? There's very few cars past the Viper that I've said I would consider getting rid of the Viper to move on to that, because, you know, once you've had a Viper that's like your attainable dream car, there's very few other bucket list cars that are, I would almost say, better or more enjoyable, but that are also kind of within a reasonable price point that I can quite frankly afford. This would definitely qualify as one of them. But the beauty is, being a cheap example and not a very pretty example, I wouldn't make the same mistake that I made with the Viper. I would make it mechanically sound, I would get it in good condition so I could do rallies, I could do road trips and stuff with it, I could probably take the dogs in it, I would probably fix the heat, but other than that, I'd be mostly focused on mechanicals and not really too much of the pretty aspects. Because what I would plan on doing is doing another outlandish livery slash version of my battle wagon, my 2004 Forester. Now, as I said in my video where I compared why my Forester is more fun to the Viper, that livery is the most ridiculous thing I've ever done, and it's part of why I have so much fun with it. I love doing those kind of builds and those ridiculous, outlandish, why would anyone ever do these type of things? I got asked that repeatedly, both while building and after finishing the Forester. People are always like, yeah, well, why'd you do that? I'm like, why not? Like, it's so fun. And that car turns heads everywhere it goes. People always give the thumbs up. It's one of the most like fan favorite cars I've ever had, bar none. Like, I've had a bunch of like sports cars, including the Viper, but a bunch of other ones previously too. This is by far the one that gets the most smiles from people and kind of spreads the most joy, not only among kind of car enthusiasts, but among the general population. So what I am going to do with the Gallardo, it's obviously never going to be an off-roader, and I think it was BS for Build already did kind of like an off-roading Huracan, so I'm not really going to do that. But what I am going to do is do probably another like homage to like the A10 Warthog like I do with my Forester, and that'll probably include another PA system, which I love so much. It might include another custom push bar so I can push around more shopping carts with the front end of the car, which I may or may not have done with the Forester. But what it will definitely include is a lot of shenanigans in using the car in a way that is not necessarily illegal, but bring a smile to the community around, right?
There we go, there we go! Just want to put this in the repository.
Now, I'm not the best at actually like filming content and then producing it relatively quickly, so I'll probably film the build and I'll probably film me trying to do these things. I'll probably won't get around to editing them for like a year or two, knowing how bad I am at it, quite frankly. But I will actually take this car out. I'll probably go to the drag strip with it. I'll go to the track. I'll do autocrosses with it, in addition to doing all the other stuff that I just want to do from like a day-to-day standpoint. And that is really going to be making this bucket list car help me complete my bucket list things. And the reason for that and why I'm so kind of adamant about doing these things is, for anyone new to my channel who hasn't seen any of my previous videos, I had a really bad workplace head injury where I took a steel pipe like with an anvil attached to it across the top of my head, which is the way your body's kind of least acclimated to deal with one of these things. That was about 4 years ago, and I'm still recovering from that. And that actually like should have killed me. I've had several doctors say you should not have lived. And in so many ways, it took several years from my life. I literally went from a 25-year-old who was trying to land a backflip on a snowboard to a 26-year-old who needed a cane just to walk around his own house and around his office that he was familiar with. It was bad. It was really bad. And for that reason, I haven't really been able to ride my motorcycle at all, and I can't do as much performance driving as I used to because I don't really quite have the balance or the, depth perception or a lot of these other things. So I've had to move my focus from my motorcycles to my cars because I need that extra layer of safety. But because I've lost so many years to this injury, that's why I'm looking to go out and do as many of these bucket list items I can with a bucket list vehicle. And I know that it doesn't have heat and, it's got some odds and ends to sort out. But I mean, how many people travel to national parks with their dog in the seat in a Lambo? Like, that would be pretty awesome. And then I'm also going to try to use this car to raise awareness about brain injuries, kind of the side effects, how to deal with them, as well as some general awareness for like employers and resources and stuff like that. Because quite frankly, my employers screwed me over in every way imaginable and did a lot of really illegal things to deliberately detriment me to try to, just save themselves a few dollars. And I think that there's not really a lot of protections in place for brain injury victims, both from a legal standpoint as well as like, workplace rights kind of standpoint. Doctors' forms for injuries, when they have like the workplace limitations, aren't really set up for brain injuries. They're more like physical injuries, like lifting and stuff like that. So by using this car kind of in a way that's fun and gets a lot of attention, I'm hoping I could also get some sort of attention and gravitation towards a good cause. And if there's a learning curve along the way, if there's a way to kind of create some content and then try to entertain the masses online as a kind of a secondary form of entertainment, I'm going to try to do that. But the head injury has kind of limited my ability to edit, which is why I'm not super consistent with uploads. Even 4 years out, using a computer screen still like makes it feel like someone's drilling into my head with a hot drill bit, so that's not exactly the best feeling, but I will do what I can to give as much enjoyment as I can to the masses with this vehicle. Now, as for what the exact livery looks like, again, I'm leaning towards like another A10 Warthog theme with the light bar, kind of like I did with my Forester, but that's not necessarily dead set. I am an engineer. I love the process of building it. I love the problem solving. I love the tinkering aspect. So if I find things that are broken, I'm going to work on them myself, not quite to the Tavarish level. I'll probably get a little creative in some of my problem solving. And as for the working top, if it's a simple fix, I might do that and then still run this thing year round and take it snowboarding. And if it's not a simple fix, I might actually just try to craft something out of fiberglass on my own, or just go like full Cletus McFarland, and if I, crash it or find everything else completely irreparable, just make it an exo car. That's really the kind of plan for this, is whatever phase that it's at and whatever damage that it has, I'm going to make it work and make it run for as long as it can and be used as well as it can by whatever means that takes. And it may not look pretty, And I kind of accept that, and I'm okay with that because, like I said, on my Viper, I made that mistake. I made it too pretty, and now I'm afraid to really use it, and I might, give that car up for somebody else to enjoy or for somebody else to treat as a garage queen so that I can actually go out and enjoy it. Because what I've realized is life is really too short and kind of our days are limited, right? So I want to have this as my bucket list car to really do the things that I have left on my bucket list. To go out and tackle those challenges that maybe I've always been afraid to do or that I thought I was no longer able to do. And to do the crazy things with this both on a daily basis or maybe bombing it through the snow or whatever that makes people scratch their heads and say, yeah, but why would you possibly do that to that car? In the same way that they said that with my $2,000 Subaru Forester. So that is to say, my use case is I'm going to make it ridiculously fun. I'm going to make it a fan favorite livery, and I'm just going to go out and have a blast with this thing and allow other people to experience it and then try to put all that attention towards a good cause. So I'd like to thank SWAE and VinWiki for this opportunity. I'd like to thank everyone else for their consideration, and please let me buy a Lambo. That would be pretty cool. And just so you know who's going to be riding shotgun with me, I will be chilling with my dogs. Here is dog number 1. He is a little camera shy. He's a new rescue. And here is dog number 2, who is not camera shy, but who has had her fair share of health issues, if you can catch that. Yep. So I am trying to give these guys as much of an enjoyable life as I can and to get them out of the house and kind of on hikes and stuff as much as I can as well. She's already 7, and like I said, I lost several years because of this head injury, so I'm trying to make the years that she has left count. So that said, thank you guys for your consideration. I'm signing off, and fingers crossed.